Good evening, everyone. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video is probably worth 1,000,000 words. But we would still like to dive deeper into the Mahindra story and gain further insights from your journey. So, Bhuwan, thank you for doing this for us. You've been on this transformation journey now for more than 2 years. So, if I am a customer or a prospective buyer of a Mahindra vehicle today, what is the change that I would see, from where you were maybe 2 years ago?
First of all, thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to be amongst all of you. And it's amazing to see the video of how we've transformed our customer experiences and how the customers are loving the brand. The experiences have changed, not just because we've implemented digital interventions and we've built new platforms, but also because the consumer preferences have been changing. No longer the customer is waiting for a physical interaction to make decisions about something as big as buying a car, which is most likely the second most biggest purchase that a customer makes in their adulthood. With changing customer preferences and behavior, there is also a need for meeting the customer at the right place. We meet our customers most often these days on social media, right? Where somebody is reading a blog post about or an Instagram post about, an off-road trip that one of a customer's friend has taken recently. So it's important to be sure that we're present where the customers are, and then we take the journey as a progressive journey from there onwards to ensure that it doesn't get broken again during our interactions with the customer. So from where we started to where we are, of course, following the change that has happened in the customer behaviors, we have implemented truly connected experiences by the way of implementing a platform that allows us to stitch a common source of truth. But at the same time, simplified our processes. Our customers are not just the people who buy our cars. Our first customer is a dealer. And dealers need to be given handy tools for them to serve our consumers, the end consumers. And we started from there. We started by saying the experience of the dealer is as important as the experience of the customer. So if you now walk into a dealership, a Mahindra dealership in any of our branches across, you would see that they would have a digital footprint of everything that you've done with us, all the way from clicking on an ad, to the form that you filled, to the conversation that you might have had with our call center agent, or to a booking that you might have already done before coming to the showroom. At the same time, the dealer already knows that when is the right time to talk to a customer about what product. And at the same time, the dealers also have a very easy and simple method and tool to monitor their own performance, their people's performance, and hence push the right buttons in order to drive sales and in order to drive better experiences. So I think the experience is very, very different, coming back to your question. Partly driven by customer preferences, but partly also driven by the platforms and the connected nature of digital thread that we've been able to put together.
I think that's really powerful. And in today's times when customers don't have much time to spare, what they're looking for is a frictionless experience, where you are able to bring the context of past interaction. So I think that's really powerful. Companies often change when there is some external pressure. Either they are not doing well, or there is some other restructuring going on. In your case, you have 3 bestsellers in Thar, XUV 700, and the Scorpio N, and you have a waiting list of more than 1 year for each of these iconic brands. What then is your imperative to change at all?
All right, there is no imperative to change anything. The imperative is to chase excellence. Like we discussed earlier in previous conversations also, the journey of the customer does not start and end at the point of sale. Our mandate is to be number one in customer experience. And that customer experience journey extends all the way down to when a customer meets us on the first service. Before that, customer meets us at the delivery point, because for a sector like ours, which is automobile, the journey can never be fully digital. We have to meet the customer in multiple places. And there are two golden moments. One is a test drive, right, when decisions are made. And more often than not, we see families coming together to take a test drive. Second one is a delivery. And of course, many of you have seen that it is usually a ceremony. The delivery is a ceremony in which people come together. There's a small puja, there's pictures, there's a photo op, and then there's social media and all of that, right? That follows. So I think bringing excellence in ensuring that each of those touch points, whether they are digital or physical, whether they lead to a new sale or to making our existing customer happy, or to ensuring that our customers' promise that we have given, let's say we'll deliver your vehicle back from service in 24 hours, is met or not, is the excellence that we are chasing. So the imperative is not just about changing, but instead transforming ourselves to become excellent and becoming number one in customer experience.
Fantastic. You spoke earlier about how life has changed for the customer or the buyer, but they also say happy employees make for happy customers, right? How has this platform changed the lives of your dealer, sales reps, and your sales employees?
Well, that's very important. It's very close to my heart as well. I think any transformation has three aspects. And we were discussing earlier with Arundhati ma'am. There is an aspect where we start implementing a new process or implementing new tools, right? And we go through technology challenges, we go through platform selection, investments, business case, and all of that. So there is an implementation process. There is a phase in which after that we do adoption, right? Where we ensure that things that we have invested in actually get used. There is value realization that happens. And then there is a third phase, which is innovation, where the discontinuous benefit of your investments start to take shape. Coming back to how lives of dealers have changed, I think across all these three phases, we first saw we had to listen to dealers and understand what processes should be and how dealers like to operate, whether it is running a transaction or looking at a report or making decisions for their business operations. Second, we had to ensure that dealers are able to use the tool effectively. So it's not just enough to give them a tool, but also handhold them, train them, give them the right tool, give them the right training material, the support that they need in order to use this. Now we are in the third phase, where we are actually unlocking discontinuous benefits from the platform. Some of these can be very small, right? Sometimes I hear things like, we never knew this was possible. This used to take us 3 days, now it is on my mobile phone. So coming back to or stitching together all of this, I think our dealers and employees have gone through all the 2-3 phases. We are now in phase 3, where we are unlocking innovation benefits for them. But one, making reports and data accessible on their fingertips is a big impetus for us, and we are continuously trying to ensure that our dealers, our operations team and our head office teams have access to data that they need in order to run the operations. And two, making the system as simple as possible for them such that the amount of support required is minimum is another thing that we are driving. So they are themselves now getting used to using the system and trying out new things that we are continuously launching. And the last thing is, as any other platform, we continuously improve this platform. So we have champions who test this platform first and give us feedback on whether this works or not. And we've put together a rigorous process of sending a release note of what has changed from last time to our dealers. So we also measure whether the input that we have gotten from dealer is getting addressed or not, and they feel more involved with the whole co-creation of the process, etc. So when some dealer sees their feedback getting incorporated into the next release note, it gives them instant ownership of the platform itself. So that's another way in which we are kind of bringing everything together.
Fantastic. I mean, it's truly closing the feedback loop with your internal stakeholders. You've traversed a long way already in your transformation journey. What are you working on now?
Like I said, we have now, some of my team members are sitting there. We are now in our phase 3. Now is the time for us to unlock discontinuous benefits from our platform investments. One of the big things that we are working on is stitching together the entire data that we have and generate from our multiple interactions across touch points from customers into one single place. We are working towards the CDP and creating a customer 360 view so that even if 5 years later a customer who comes to us with a concern, the person who is new into the system trying to talk to the customer has access to everything that the customer has done with us, online, offline, dealership, in the car, outside the car, with the brand, etc. So I think one of the biggest things that we are right now doing is imagining some of the magic use cases on personalization and customer 360 through our CDP platform. And then of course also trying to get our data silos connected to each other. Right now there is a big data silo being fed by our connected car platform, and there is a customer data platform which is on the CRM side. We are trying to see how we can bring these two together so the car and the customer kind of converge at a point where we are able to give much more personalized and sharp experiences to our customers.
Great, and all the best in this phase. We are almost out of time, Bhuwan. So before we leave the stage, any words of wisdom for our audience, who may be either in the middle of such a journey or contemplating starting one?
Well, no words of wisdom, but I can share learnings for sure. Having traversed this journey for last couple of years with my amazing colleagues. Couple of things. One, I think the first pilot to the first scale up is where most of the work happens. So if any of you are working on a Salesforce platform or any other platform to build new experiences for the customers, try and accelerate to a point where you have an MVP out, where you can get to a pilot in front of a user very quickly. Because 80% of the work will happen after that. Trust me. Second one is, and this is something we learned the hard way, we need to have courage to drive change management. I'll explain that a little bit. When we rolled out the new CRM platform across our dealerships, pan-India with thousands of users, like it was mentioned, they were already familiar with an existing system which was running for 10 years. And I had the option to say, let's keep that as a backup and try this new system. But I told myself that if I do not have the conviction and the courage to actually shut down the old system, my new system will never work. The old system was complex, was used to work only in the Internet Explorer browser, on-prem system, and all of that was not connected across channels, but there was familiarity. Like that railway ticket counter boy who sits and types into a MS-DOS type prompt. Our dealer agents and users were able to do it with their eyes closed. They were able to fill those forms with their eyes closed. And we had to cut that system off. I'm so glad we took that decision to cut systems before we implemented before we rolled out a new one, and not give the option to fall back. Because then we created discomfort that led us to innovation. So I think that's the second one. The third one is, again, coming from experience and learnings, we should invest in people and talent. Relying on third-party agencies to build your system to a certain extent works. But if customer experience is core to your brand, if customer experience is core to business success, then investing in talent that can help build those experiences for customers is important. So we built a COE for Salesforce. We hired talent with experience, knowing that these are the type of people we're hiring for the first time. We had to do it because there was conviction that this is core to us and we have to do it well. So yeah, these are the 3 learnings from my experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bhuwan, for all those valuable tips, and thank you for spending time with us. Maybe in phase 4 of your transformation, you will find a way to magically reduce waiting times for your vehicles. So we look forward to that day. Thank you again.
Sure, thank you.